Okay, so I'm going to respond to Isaac Butterfield's video on ethno-nationalism and veganism. I'm personally not an ethno-nationalist myself, but I like to listen to different speakers and different people with different opinions than mine, so that I'm able to take on what they have to say. I know quite a lot about ethno-nationalism because I have read things about ethno-nationalism. And also the fact that I'm studying a PhD, which is on social identity theory, which looks into some of the psychology of actual racism. And I'm not talking about people saying that they don't like Black Lives Matter. I'm talking about people who are actually, anti-Semitic or actually racist. So yeah, I think I'm in quite a good position to respond to this video.
It is insanely fucked up that there are a group of people who think it's okay to kill, to gas Jewish people, but it's not okay to kill and gas cows, to eat them. Is that not fucking outrageously hilarious?
So I think that this comment insinuating that ethno-nationalists want to kill Jewish people is intellectually dishonest, and it shows that he knows very, very little about ethno-nationalism. So I have a number of issues with ethno-nationalism, as I actually know quite a bit about it, as I've actually listened to people who are ethno-nationalists, as I've actually, gone on the Patriotic Alternatives website and looked at what they had to say. So one of my issues with ethno-nationalism is the fact that there's often a focus on how immigration is affecting British people. And although I'm against mass immigration, although I want to drastically curb mass immigration, I think the focus on British people is a bit misguided. So they'll say things like having an influx of immigrants will lower the prices of jobs, which it does, and that will mean that British people aren't paid as much for their work anymore. So that's true, and I think that's an issue that we should be considering. I think there's also an issue with Muslim grape gangs. There was massive issues with that. However, I think that it's a little bit misguided because there are also issues for the country that these immigrants are coming from. There's issues such as a brain drain, which means that skilled workers from abroad are being taken and put into the UK, and then places like Nigeria and parts of the third world don't have as many doctors there. There's issues such as the fact that people live within people often naturally segregate into communities of their own race. This is a very kind of natural phenomenon. And so as people segregate into groups of people of their own race, this creates kind of communities of people of one particular race. So you have communities of people from Pakistan, and in these communities, these people don't integrate within the wider society. They don't learn the language. And as there's a lack of language skills within that community, there's high unemployment, and that leads to high crime rate, and also less upward mobility, so less ability to gain higher skilled jobs. So I think that one of the issues that I have with ethno-nationalism is the focus itself. So yeah. Okay, so the second disagreement that I have with ethno-nationalists is the fact that some of the policies promoted by ethno-nationalist political organisations, such as the Patriotic Alternative, suggest very radical policies on getting immigrants out of the country. Now, I think that once immigrants are settled in the country, I don't think that it's fair to try and move them on. So they have a policy where they would deny education to children who can't speak English, and I find that very sad, and I find that it comes across as kind of insensitive and unfair. I would be totally okay with us having regulations on immigration, such as only people who have a job and are able to speak the language fluently are able to come in. But having a policy where you don't allow children to access education if they can't speak English, I think that's rather unfair. And this is what I mean. Like, he clearly doesn't understand anything about ethno-nationalism, because if he did, he would be able to critically understand the policies that ethno-nationalists have and why he's against them. You know, and he's not really able to do that. So in answer to your question, why ethno-nationalist vegans are for the killing of Jews but not for the killing of animals, well, that's not what they believe. That's not what they believe. I think a much better question would be why ethno-nationalists promote conspiracy theories about the Holocaust not happening, about Jewish people not dying in gas chambers. I think that would be a much better question. And in answer to that question, basically, I think that with ethno-nationalists, they have a kind of sense of cognitive dissonance. So they think that nationalism is great and they want to promote radical change. Like, for example, you know, denying education to children who don't speak English, giving people financial subsidies to get out of the country. This is very radical change. And basically, when you point to nationalist societies and you say, well, that nationalist society ended up being racist and ended up killing Jews, I think the fact that most people don't like the killing of people, it gives them a sense of cognitive dissonance. And so what ends up happening is, in order to justify nationalism and their nationalist beliefs, they basically pretend or try and kid themselves that Jewish people weren't killed in the Holocaust, because believing that they were killed in the Holocaust would give them a sense of cognitive dissonance and make them realise that maybe radical policies to get immigrants out of the country who are already settled here is not such a good idea.
Well, the Nazi Party, for example, had a green wing that pushed for environmental reform, including organic farming, reforestation programs, and protections of certain species of plants and animals, along with Hitler, Heinrich, and Himmler. Along with Hitler, Heinrich Himmler was a vegetarian who opposed vivisection and cruelty towards animals. I feel the most anti-Nazi thing to do in the current world is eat as much fucking meat as you can.
Okay, so Hitler had a number of good animal welfare policies, that's undeniable. He wanted to ban vivisection, and he wanted to improve the lives of animals on farms. That's an undeniable truth, and it's an undeniable truth that he was an on and off vegetarian. But you can still be an on and off vegetarian, you can still improve the lives of animals on farms and be a shit human being who kills millions of Jews. I mean, I don't know how that's you know, being a vegan makes you a better person. It doesn't necessarily make you a good person. It makes you a better person in the fact that you're improving the lives of animals and you're not killing them in any way. But it doesn't mean that you can't kill your wife and kids. I mean, there was a vegan killer who actually killed his wife and kids, but was vegan and you know, supported animal rights. I mean, there are shit human beings who are vegan, and there are shit human beings who are omnivores. I could just point to Osama bin Laden. He killed millions of people, and he was an evil dictator, and he also ate meat. I could point to, I mean, my nan's lodger Chris works in the AP. I'm sure he has lots of omnivores there that kill their wife and children. So, okay, veganism makes you a better person in the fact that you're not killing animals. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're a good person. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a murderer. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not an evil dictator. And that's it. And I don't know, I mean, if I was to point to, you know, someone who did something evil and ate meat, you wouldn't stop eating meat because that person did something evil. I don't know how that's a very good argument against veganism. It's just an appeal to someone who did something bad that eats the similar diet to you. It's kind of weird. Well, thank you for watching, guys. Please subscribe on this channel and comment down below if you like it. Oh, I forgot to mention, I've actually done a video with Liberty Vegan. He's a really good YouTuber, and yeah, definitely check him out if you haven't already. I will leave that in the link in the description below.